A warm welcome everyone. Myself Dr. Priyanka Chopra, founder Next Wave Empowerment. Welcome to Rooted to Rise. Today we'll explore the leadership that balances growth with values. The focus of entire conversation will be on the question the leaders grapple with: how to drive innovation in an intense market like India without diluting the core culture. And we have with us Mr. Prashant Nagre, who is the Chairman Managing Director of Fermenta Biotech. He is a seasoned leader with an experience of over 3 decades in the industries like nutrition, healthcare, and biotechnology. Prashant is widely known for steering Fermenta Biotech as globally respected science-led organization. Okay, welcome Prashant. We are delighted to have you over here. So let me begin by asking, in a competitive market like India, how do you decide which values need to remain constant and which mindset needs to evolve?
Okay, thank you so much Priyanka for having me on this show. And so I've always believed personally that there is a constant battle, as the world tells us, between values and achievements that you have to do.
Very true.
But in real sense there is no battle. Okay, I'll explain how.
Yeah.
Ethics, integrity and customer trust are values which are non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Okay, so if these 3 things are important, what you stand for, then there is nothing that is has to be worried about. Okay, this forms the central basis of the business that you build. Okay, and the people. Now most important in this is while mindsets have to evolve,
Okay.
the values remain constant. They are like your guiding principle. Okay?
Very true.
So in Hindi we call it as Dhruva Tara. Okay, and that Dhruva Tara is always constant. Okay,
Right.
it has helped before navigation systems were ever evolved. Millions of ship-going people, ocean-going people, seafarers looked at the star and guided. So in my mind and in my opinion, values form the core.
That Dhruv Tara.
Yeah. So what is the core principle is non-negotiable, and therefore once as a leadership you know that you have to build everything around it. Then flexibility in the mindsets is obviously required because these are changing, challenging times, and India is a very complex market as well.
Yes, very true. I do agree with that. So have you ever chosen culture over speed when innovation promised results? And how did that decision play in long run?
Okay. So the best excuse most of the people get taking shortcuts on any core values is speed. Okay, that हमें जल्दी पहुंचना है तो हम shortcut लेंगे.
We have targets.
Okay. Yeah, there will be 1 million excuses to kind of navigate that path, and that is how people will think that we need to kind of have an excuse. However, we have personally had instances, for example, in our organization where COVID came in. We had a product, we are a pharmaceutical company, we had a solution which was necessary before even all the other kind of vaccines and everything was invented.
Very true.
It is one of the very essential vitamins, vitamin D, which was involved in immunity building.
Yes.
We ensured that it is supplied to everyone, but even the idea that we can actually fluctuate prices and gain and profit kind of being the motive, we could change that, has not even touched our minds. Okay. So we supplied 110% of global requirements of this particular product in a very short period, where we ourselves were constrained because we are anyway were considered as essential industry. So we had been allowed to work because there was social distancing and complete shutdown.
Right.
However, with 1/3 people, we were allowed to operate, and we produced 110% of the output in those short months without raising a single naya paisa, not even 1 rupee increase. So I think it is essential to know that how do you build. Okay, so there are certain things which are called as short-term gains or long-term kind of strategic foresight that you have in the organization.
Right, the vision you talk
Vision.
about. Right.
So you cannot compromise, therefore, anything in short term just because of an excuse that I need to reach early. Okay,
Yes.
and just couple of things is very very disciplined execution forms a core. Okay, how do you prevent people from not rushing? it is in very disciplined execution. Okay.
Okay.
What is disciplined execution? Just to kind of
Yes.
dwell on it a little more. Disciplined execution means that you hear a whistle and all people start traveling in the direction north or
Right.
south. Okay. उसको हड़बड़ी कहते हैं हिंदी में.
Yes.
So that is wrong. Okay, that is not discipline. You have to already have role plays. You already have to have situation analysis. You need to know that under this pressure, and that's where the risk management comes in.
Yes.
So we design all different scenarios. Okay, for example, one such scenario was COVID. Unfortunately, none of the organizations ever
Was
planned
prepared.
COVID because humanity had not known that COVID can stop everyone across the world.
Yes, very
All
true.
planes were down. All kind of sea travel was
The
stopped.
most crucial period of our lives.
Absolutely. And no one had imagined this would ever happen. Okay,
Very
the
true.
world, even for the time that we know, there were many plagues and all, but international travel was not there in the past. Now, in the recent times, we have international travel, and we have not seen all restaurants closing, all public spaces closing, and all international travel coming to an halt.
Yes.
So, no one had planned. Now, how does it work when you have not planned for something? Then you have to go back to the common denominator,
Right.
the lowest, and that is your values.
Yes.
That
very
is your core beliefs. That is where the discipline execution
But we
comes
could see so many people deterring from their core values. They have been taking benefit during this period. We have seen that.
in, which is very unfortunate. But then, do you think that the customers and the general population, which is going to be your customers at the end of the day, or the market, any stakeholder for that matter, has not seen what you did during those
Of
times?
course, it was noticed.
And then, will they not kind of reward you with the right and wrong? So, I think all this conversation centers around short term versus long term.
Long term.
And there is always going to be some compromises on the way. Okay, I will say that yes, sometimes speed is something which is flexible, that you may have to sometimes compromise. But what is that coming at cost of what? I mean, that is with a long term vision which is there. So I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, wonderfully. Thank
Very
you so. Okay, Prashant, please tell me, how do you encourage experimentation, still holding teams accountable for the outcomes?
Excellent. So there is a clear kind of distinction between two things, and that is risk taking. So I love my teams taking risk.
Okay.
Sometimes not even informing me, doing things because that is required to kind of speed up things. But reckless execution versus risk taking are two different things.
Of course.
So if you do not have a sense of kind of belonging, if you do not have ownership, then I think the leadership has somewhere failed. Then what happens is people are not accountable. Okay.
Right.
So वो हिंदी में कहावत है कि अगर आपने एक उंगली सामने वाले की की है तो तीन आपके पास है.
Very true.
So whenever you have this situation where you have teams not doing things in an accountable fashion, or people or individuals are not accountable, तीन उंगलियां अपने तरफ है, which is as a leader you have to do much because you have failed somewhere to ensure that teams have that sense of belonging and sense of ownership. These two are core. Once you have sense of belonging and this thing, and I'm a father, you have two children, very lovely.
Yes.
And what do we expect them to do? ये आपका घर है और आपने जिम्मेदारी से रहना इसके अंदर. You
Very
cannot mess around in this house.
Of
Okay,
course.
that is a principle in all
The homes.
homes that we have in this country.
Yes.
And it is ownership. Okay, they have ownership of that property.
Yes.
There is shared reward in that home, and that is what, if you extend that to an organization, then what happens is then you don't have to chase people. ये अंदर डालना है उनके, और वो उनको खुद को you have to make sure that they understand this.
Right.
They own up the results, and therefore risk taking versus reckless execution. That is one. The second is we start with always a problem definition. So whenever we work on any innovation, anything, we start with a clear problem statement. And I ask people that they have to write it down. Okay. So, and then the power is in a teamwork. It is never an individual. Okay. मुट्ठी में ताकत है. तो when you have one person who is most related to that subject, and you ask him to begin with writing a problem statement because it is probably his problem.
Yes.
Then what you do is all those people you think have a different point of view in the organization. And I think, again, I will just take a break from this question and go back. As a leader, you have to know your resources well. Okay?
Very true.
If you do not know, okay, a mother, for example, knows in a household that who can do what task.
Yes.
That is her biggest strength. Because she knows that this guy can kind of do this. And if I motivate him, he will go even beyond, far and beyond, and achieve this.
Right.
And that is how she encourages all children. Today, the families are nuclear. There are less number of children. But in the older times, there were bigger families.
Yes.
Okay, we were 3 siblings. And mother exactly knew whom to motivate and get what is to be done.
Right.
Now, similarly, a leader has to know strengths of his people, weaknesses, their limitations, their ability. So almost like we do an MRI scan for any problematic area of the body, and then the doctor knows exactly what the diagnosis is. Similarly, a leader has to know what capabilities his people have, okay, or even constraints, therefore. Now, once you have that, then you can choose the right amount of people to begin with that problem statement which is there, and introduce all those elements, and complete that. So one person starts writing that thing, and then it goes for a larger audience. And we say that once we enter the room, we are individuals. Once we are in the room as a team, then it is all shared. And after that, the output doesn't belong to any individual.
Very true.
So selfless. Okay, that is a very important word. Usually, you will say that the increments are individual, the promotions are individual. How will you make people actually share things and then not own it up? Okay, and that's where you know what happens when earthquakes happen. There is an instrument somewhere which called a seismograph, which kind of records the movement. And you have, that is the leadership ability that you need to have, which means that although it is a team of 5 people, you have to know exactly who contributed the most, who contributed what idea, and not the overall output, but those individual things have to be told. Once the team becomes completely understanding about this fact that my individual contributions are valued, however, what is more valued is the joint effort to put in. So even if it is, for example, Priyanka's point and her paper and she needs some help, everyone else contributes, and we call it as that we'll make each other look good in our organization. That is the principle and ethos, and that is what in leadership I believe. As an organization, you have to make sure that we make each other look good. And in that process, you make a clear statement of problem.
And people are aligned with the vision of the organization. You take care of your people and people will take care of you.
That I can tell you, you have nailed it. Okay, that is what actually happens. And therefore, the only way to do and leadership, the most important is truthful and honest feedback. Now, there is another concept in this entire innovation related stuff as to how do you make people accountable, is that rather than finding blame, we analyze everything. So we do postmortem of all failures.
Wonderful.
Okay, every single failure goes through a postmortem process.
Right.
And it is done forensically.
Okay.
Okay, so
this is interesting.
So now in forensics, the guy who is doing it, forensics, he is not interested in who fired the bullet. Okay, he is interested in which machine it came out of, that is the gun, what kind of bullet it was, what is the caliber, and he can then help the crime scene to be exactly elaborated and done. So he is not interested in people, he is interested in the facts and figures. That is what we do. We completely minus in any failure people from facts on the table.
Wonderful.
Once you start doing this consistently, accountability automatically comes in, because you are not punishing people who have made mistakes.
Very true.
Unless and until it is something which is reckless.
Okay.
Recklessness has got no. Once I know that this guy has no ownership, then it is a very different conversation. Okay. Until then, it is your part task. And no blame game. Okay. You analyze forensically what is there, and we say fail forward. So many times, that is the last concept on this feedback. A fail forward means that we sometimes imagine the whole situation under which those efforts are going to fail. Okay. And you actually accelerate the failing so that you learn. In my opinion, all learning where we have, because I think it is not very long that the wheel was invented. Okay, the first innovation, probably the greatest one. And from there we now fly, in large aircrafts and few thousand kilometers in the air. And between these two innovations, there were 1 million failures.
Of course.
Okay, we failed, and that's how we learned.
We learned.
And failing is a very beautiful process. Okay, there should be a book actually.
And we don't acknowledge this failure,
yeah,
because failure is the first step to move towards the
you learn.
Success.
You learn.
Yes, you
You
learn.
have rightly said, Priyanka.
Yeah.
So failure has to be celebrated.
Yes.
But failing in a very disciplined process. Okay, not failing कि अरे चलो अभी मैं
हो गया.
गलती करता हूँ because ये organization बहुत अच्छी है and it is rewarding failure as a process. No.
Because we have seen people taking advantage.
Yes. And that the process and the teams and the maturity. So therefore it all comes to maturity. Okay, like we individuals have maturity, teams have maturity, organizations have maturity. And another very beautiful concept, now this is not part of your question, but now you are encouraging me to kind of bring out things deep inside. I've always believed that the beauty of an organization is that young people join who have let us say 0 to 5 years of experience. The rest of the team is always there. Like my organization, we will be celebrating on this 1st May 75 years. Okay. So we already have people who have been here for a very long time.
Wow.
And people ranging from 5 years to 25, 30 years. So people retire out of this organization.
Wonderful.
Now you have 0 to 5 years people coming in, or many professionals whom we have picked up and they already have 10, 15 years of experience. Now, when you bring those professionals into the organization, they already have worked for someone else under different cultural sets, values, everything. They are not young any longer, so that you can just tell them कि कल तक आपने कुछ अलग सुना है, सोचा है, and believed, and now we don't think like that. So it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Any new person who comes in requires, like in the US they call it naturalization.
Yeah, direction. Initial period.
Natural,
okay.
You have rightly said it is direction, but naturalization is a process. So US thinks that you can become our citizen, but you have to behave like one.
Yes.
You have to believe in our constitution. You have to believe. So naturalization is the process.
Wonderful.
Similarly, in an organization, you have to give people the time. Okay. अगर आपने कल किसी को लेके आए हो, he is already 45 years old. You got him as a vice president, and you have got him because he has got certain skills, and you need skills at those levels as a growing organization between what is internally available and what is externally brought in.
Yes.
You cannot ever say that कि हम सब अच्छे हैं, हमारा कल्चर अच्छा, हम अंदर के लोग रहेंगे, and you will only kind of push people. It has to happen. People from within should get, if they have capabilities, promotions. But you from time to time will also need a lot of young people to join in and a lot of experts along the entire chain joining in, so that you continuously are updated with your skill set which are required, because ultimately competition has all those things. वो सब मसाला उनके पास है, आपके पास भी होना चाहिए.
Right.
Okay. So again coming back to this. So when you have got all of these people brought in either new or as professionals, what happens is that you have to give them time, and what is the organizational process to naturalize them और ऑनबोर्ड देम. ओके, अभी एचआर का हर कंपनी में एक प्रोसेस होता है ऑनबोर्डिंग का. वो क्या करते हैं, प्रियंका का हाथ पकड़ते हैं, उसको लेके जाते हैं, ये मेरा एचआर हेड है, ये मेरा मार्केटिंग का हेड है, ये मेरा आर&डी का हेड है, और उसको इतने नाम बताते हैं. बेचारा ये आदमी होता है, पहले दिन इतने नाम 50 सुन लेता है, उसको आधे भी याद नहीं रहते. ओके, ही कांट बिकॉज ही इज न्यू ऑन द डे वन, एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड एज ऑनबोर्डिंग. फॉर एचआर दे हैव अ फॉर्म, दे विल टिक इट अ मार्क एंड देन इट इज ओवर. नो, ऑनबोर्डिंग इज अ प्रोसेस which can take a long period within the organizations. What has to happen is, therefore, these team members, where a new guy comes in with whatever experience and education, and there is a established team. Now, established team को ensure करना है कि ये बंदा इसको अपना है, वो अपना है. फिट होना ये बहुत बात का वो रिजल्ट है. उसके पहले क्या करना है? सबसे पहले all of them, because जैसे ही बाहर से कोई इंसान आता है तो welcome them with open arms.
Yes.
And most important, do not allow them to fail on something
Support
which is very
them,
obvious.
coach
What is
them,
very
yes.
obvious. Okay, support and coaching where.
Yes.
So mentoring. So what we do is we also assign mentors, because in every team you have couple of people who are very nice.
Yes.
Because हर एक का अलग अलग होता है, हर कोई भगवान नहीं है इस टीम में. Okay, and don't expect that.
Exactly.
But then you have couple of people. So you have to have private conversation with them. कि look, let us say Arun, you have a new guy who's come in. I feel that his skills are very essential for this organization, and it is also very necessary that we retain him, that he retires out of this organization. ये आप अपने लोगों से बात कर रहे हो जो पुराने हैं.
Already there.
And then you set and you have to watch कि ये लड़खड़ा सकता है लेकिन इसको गिरने नहीं देना है. Okay? So this, and that is where again accountability, that ownership and all of that comes. So before you expect anything from people, as a leader you have to do 1 million things, establish that platform and then ensure that आप सब ले रहे हो. तो आपका क्वेश्चन वापस is accountability. Okay? That is what. So accountability is it's a output of ownership. Okay? एकदम simple language में. Thank you.
Very true. Wonderful. It was wonderful. Now I want to know from you, as organizations grow, what specific actions can be taken to prevent the dilution of the core values?
Okay. So again, I mean, we are using a family example. So role models are very important in life. Okay, one of the reasons that when we were informally chatting before this interview started, was that you want to create these interviews for your people, target audience, and you wanted to showcase them, the leaders and the role models. Okay, everything in life is role model.
Yes.
चंदा मामा से चालू हो जाता है वो बचपन में. Okay, so role models are very important.
Yes.
अभी so what do we, everywhere, wherever, whatever happens, children imitate parents. Okay, what is there in the civic books is not important. They read in the schools that you cannot litter the roads and outside world, but the parents are taking them in a car and the window goes down and you're throwing packets out.
Outside,
okay,
yes.
used kind of plates and all of that outside. So they will remember this, not the book.
Exactly.
Okay,
if it is
so
not practiced, it
will
cannot
never,
be preached.
it is.
Yes.
They have to see. Okay,
Yes.
so seeing is believing, and therefore role model. So walk the talk is what is the general concept in this. As a leader now, again coming back to what should we do
As a leader.
to make sure that those kind of, there is no dilution of core values. Now we, in the earlier sections, we saw that invariably people start, when there is a growth required, they start saying that हमें speed चाहिए, and that speed will then require dilution of core values. That is absolutely not right. Okay,
Yes.
it is not necessary. First of all, you have to decide, are you playing a short-term game or long-term game? As we call in strategy, there is nothing wrong. As an organization, if you define कि नहीं मुझे short-term ही काम करना है, तो that is fair, because that is your strategy, that is your vision, that is what you want to achieve.
Right.
When you are doing short-term, then we are not talking about, then shortcuts are invariably common thing. So first and foremost is that we have to define for the business as to what is your thought. Okay, is it short-term, long-term? If it is long-term, then obviously all core values are going to be building blocks for a long-term future.
Very true.
And therefore,
They should be strong.
so how do you as a leader achieve that? Okay, that is the most $1,000,000 question.
Yes.
Very simple. Usually in life, and this should be noted and recorded, is nothing is rocket science in life, unfortunately. Okay, people make it sound very complex, but actually it is very simple. Management is very simple. In this case, what do you do? So when you want to make sure that people do that kind of role model and do the right things, and then you walk the talk, how do you enable that within the organization? That is by doing technology enabled, design enabled processes and SOPs.
Okay.
इसका मतलब क्या है कि अगर आपको लोगों को, फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू वांट टू कीप देम ऑनेस्ट, ओके, हाउ डू यू मेक पीपल ऑनेस्ट? ओके, बड़ा सिंपल है. फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल इज दैट यू रिक्रूट ऑनेस्ट पीपल एज फार एज पॉसिबल, एंड द सेकेंड थिंग इज यू कीप देम ऑनेस्ट.
But recruiting honest people,
Yeah.
honesty has no marks. How can you? How
so
can you
it's a
judge
nice-
whether the person is honest or not?
Yeah, so this is a,
Because it comes through the resume, and there's lots of things going in which is
Yeah.
actually not honest.
yeah, so beautiful question. I think, but that obviously is slightly distracted from
But
the
would love
main
to hear
topic.
it.
But I can
Yeah,
tell you
yeah,
this.
yeah.
No, I'll tell.
Yeah.
So how do you recruit honest people? Okay,
Yes.
a book can be published on this. Okay, and copyrights are mine.
Okay.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So what is the standard process of recruitment? So the most important thing in recruitment process which goes wrong is the excessive kind of rush which is done in getting someone. That I need this guy within 1 month, I need this guy within 15 days, okay? So the failure is on both parts, the business heads and the HR, because HR is accepting that request. That I'll give you a guy within 2 months time or 1 month's time, okay? That, so what happens in that entire thing is that there is also a notice period that all candidates, minimum being at least 1 month, maximum being up to 3 months, okay?
True.
Now in this whole process, when the business head wants him yesterday, explain to me where is the process for recruiting the right candidate and the time spent in doing that, because business head considers the time that is given to selection process of a candidate. If it is a single position, you want to interview not more than 2 or 3 people,
Okay.
and you want to close on one.
Yes.
So you cannot find, first of all, forget about honesty, you cannot find the right person by rushing things.
Okay.
That is one. Secondly, we all are now, I'm like 35 years now into the industry. It takes me hardly 30 seconds when a candidate walks in, and there are tricks in the game, and I'll only disclose one, but there are things because of your experience and eyes. The most underestimated asset is that you look into eyes of people and you know what is going on, okay? And that happens. But that is not science, that is gut feeling. So I'll give you scientific understanding. So they have claimed something. So we, in my first job, which was in Novartis, they told me that the past is your reflection for future.
Okay.
And how you probe past can be also designed. So when I was kind of recruiting young people, I used to write down questions that will tell me, and I would, everyone has in Mumbai, I always had 5 days a week. So I had always got 2 days which were to me. And because I was ambitious, I wanted to run. I came to Mumbai. I wanted to invest every single minute. So I used to do things on the weekend where I will write down these things.
Okay.
So that I was not thinking when I was on the job on 9 on Monday. That was not when I was thinking, because that there is no time. The business requires you then for all this. So I wrote down handwritten questions
On the weekends.
on the weekends, and then you have more educated and experienced bosses that you have. I was fortunate to get a series of at least half a dozen bosses who combined had more than 250 years of experience. Very, very intelligent guys. And I would sit down and show my questions to them, and also write down what they would tell me as additional questions or some refinement in the questions that I have had. And over a period of time, I don't today work with a paper. Those questions are in me.
Okay.
And you probe the past. Okay.
Very true.
After a point, all these chat GPTs and the AIs of the world and whatever kind of biodatas are printed in a very mechanical manner. When you are interviewing someone and you bring about those skills, and there is another subject, just for a moment I'll digress, is called as criminal investigation.
Okay.
Unfortunately, none of the leaders are told how to investigate. And their job regularly requires them to investigate things, not criminal in nature,
Of course.
but they have to investigate things.
Yes.
अगर कोई आपसे झूठ बोल रहा है, if there is anything that you are suspicious that you need to
Yes,
counter
you have
check,
to be
okay, there are two
observant.
versions
Yes.
of things which come on your table, and you are not even trained
Exactly.
like a criminal investigator.
Right.
Okay, so but there are wonderful books on criminal investigation. And the most important word that I like of criminal investigation is they secure the perimeter. So if you have seen any crime scene, they have these yellow ribbons.
Yes.
They said do not cross crime scene.
Yes.
Okay, उसको perimeter कहते हैं, and that is perimeter securing. Now once you secure the perimeter, you can do that in business also, which means that once you get into a situation where you have to investigate, you have to cut noise. That perimeter is noise.
Oh wow.
तो एक बार वो इन्वेस्टिगेटर अंदर है तो उसको बाहर के लोगों की चिंता नहीं है, वो अपना काम कर रहा है.
Wonderfully explained.
Yeah. So वो अपना काम कर रहा है. Now this interview scene, consider that equivalent to a crime scene. Not, you don't have to consider that person as crime. He is going to be your person.
Yes.
And he will grow with you.
Yes.
Not that. I'm just
But
drawing
being observant.
parallels.
Yes.
Parallels between these two things.
Yeah.
Now you probe the past and thugaway criminals also say what they have done. Okay. It is the skill of the investigator which can kind of make sure that
Find out what is happening.
The crime is committed to.
Yes.
Okay, so it is not difficult. No human being has been built to hide things permanently.
Very true.
It depends on your skills, and consider that he is so rugged that you have not been able to. Then you switch. You stop the interview. Now, trick. I said that I'll give you one trick. So you stop the interview and start talking about stupid things. Okay, which are unrelated. Close the. And what the candidate is looking at is वो resume बंद कर दिया अंदर रख दिया साहब ने.
Now what?
और वो कागज हो गया. Okay, अभी शांति से फिर इधर-उधर की बातें करो and then tell him कि no, you can leave and it is fine.
Right.
But you, in that half an hour, you have noticed certain things which were very, very concerned. And you have made a mental note. Now he's about to leave the room. He's opened the door. And you have to just say that, Priyanka, just a moment. I just had this clarity that I needed. And then ask that last question. The most hardened criminal will fall apart into pieces.
Oh my God, what a trick. Please.
So before this guy leaves the room,
yes.
that is the last 30 seconds are most crucial and the hardest, because all his facade, all his protective mechanisms, the moment you have closed, you have to close the pain, you have to do all. So I always say that leaders are actors.
Now since the trick is out, the people will be prepared.
नहीं कर सकते.
Huh?
नहीं कर
Because
सकते.
they know where they're going
So
to get caught.
if, for example, this
Yes.
is someone else must have told this, so it doesn't matter. It is not one interview, and it is not the one interviewer. If that question is left unanswered, because he will answer, okay, and if, for example, he has learned from my trick now, okay,
Yes.
I will know exactly within next 5 seconds that it is a stereotype answer and not what is I wanted to kind of get as an answer.
Okay.
Then what I do is I send him back. I send him back, and then there are many other ways of talking to him. Okay, so he is traveling, for example, on a Saturday evening somewhere. You just suddenly call him, and you start that conversation again.
Okay.
Okay, so there are multiple ways of reaching. You can ask someone else, and then professional help is available. Nowadays, there are multiple agencies who do private investigation on a candidate.
Oh, really?
अगर कोई बहुत पसंद आ गया आपको और आपको चाहिए वो, लेकिन आपको क्लैरिटी नहीं है, okay, you have some doubts, then you can set people up. And you will get complete. And their strategy is also very simple. And even though this is a second kind of secret that I want to let it out.
Okay. We are lucky enough to have the secrets.
And no one can fool on this because you can't. You have to be good. And what they do is they go from the first company that you mention in your biodata. And if you are 20 years into the industry, they will go to the first company 20 years ago and find out colleagues who worked there 20 years ago with you. And they charge you pretty good amount of money to do this investigation. And they don't disclose names of the interviewed people, but they give you every 5 years what this candidate has done.
But sometimes
With all previous companies, with not one person within that organization, multiple people. So दो तीन लोगों से वो बात करके बहुत सारी चीजें निकालते हैं.
If you're talking about the multiple industries, because in one case it could be that he could have been in a trap of something and then
multiple. All is. If he has worked for 6 organizations in 20 years,
right.
These guys go to not one person within that organization, multiple people, 6 companies. That is how you take, and that is what you are paying for. So that you get a trend then, and 6 companies with. So there is no victimization possible. So in statistics we call it is that there is always a sample size in any statistical analysis. And another principle in statistics is that when the sample size is equivalent to the universe, universe is the total subjects,
infinity,
the survey becomes accurate.
Right.
Okay. So 6 companies for this candidate, imaginary candidate,
it's huge.
with 20 years,
everything is
20 years,
up on the papers,
and at least 2-3 colleagues, and 20 years in making. It is rare.
He cannot challenge that. He cannot challenge
So that's why we again go back to the origin of this question is that you recruit honest people, keep them honest by design of processes and SOPs.
Okay.
Maker doer concept has to be there. एक आदमी लिखेगा, करेगा, दूसरा उसको चेक करेगा. Maker and doer. Okay. Maker, doer and checker. ये सब तीन कॉन्सेप्ट होता है. एक करने वाला, एक लिखने वाला है, एक उसको चेक करने वाला है.
Okay.
तो ये हर प्रोसेस में होना चाहिए.
Okay.
Hierarchical things, and it all has to be by design. Most of the companies, so whenever there are startups, for example, या any new business, the leader's role is to make it future ready. So अभी टर्नओवर कम है, 10 करोड़ है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, लेकिन आपने कंपनी आज ऐसी बिल्ड की है क्या कि ये 500 करोड़ तक चल सकेगा, ये SOPs, वो सोच है. That is your vision. That is where you as a leader differentiate yourself from others.
Right.
So we build companies at least 2 or 3x of the size at which we are currently.
Wow.
In all processes, all systems and everything. Now, honestly, is that still foolproof? No. Because ये चोर पुलिस का खेल है. लेकिन it has to be made as difficult as possible.
Okay.
And you have to continuously grow to the next paradigm shift. Okay, so that is what we will
But
kind of.
do the organization have that much of time? That is a separate thing. We'll continue some other day.
Yeah.
Okay, let's come to our next question.
Yeah.
So, as a leader today, what concerns you more? Falling behind on innovation or weakening organizational culture, and why?
Yeah, so I think after all these questions, you know already where I stand. To me, the organizational culture, values, what we stand for, is more important than just innovation. And in my opinion, innovation, so culture is the fuel for innovation, in my opinion. Okay, तो इसको repeat करूँगा वापस. Culture is the fuel for innovation.
Generally, we say innovation fuels progress.
हाँ, तो वो बाकी सब बाद में होगा, वो सब बाद में होगा. सबसे पहले कल्चर. Because as a leader, what are you doing? Okay, I have not stood. We are a chemical company, pharmaceutical. I have not stood in front of any machine, reactors, processes, systems, computers. In my life, I have not done. Or do I have capability to do so? Can I run, for example, analytical equipments in my organization? I cannot. I understand their principles because I'm a technocrat. But if you ask me to run like passing a batch and doing the complete analysis for release, I will not be able to.
Right.
So what am I working on as a leader? अगर मैं मशीन नहीं चला सकता हूँ, मैं रिएक्टर्स नहीं चला सकता हूँ, कोई मशीन नहीं, कोई भी दूसरा कोई कंप्यूटर नहीं चला सकता हूँ, तो मैं कर क्या रहा हूँ फिर? And we only are very, very high-tech company, cutting-edge technologies. So what am I doing then? So in my opinion, मेरी machine human beings है. और human beings are guided by values,
very
culture.
Accepted.
So as a leader, I have to make sure that long-term vision is put in place. And if it is a long-term, again we come back short-term versus long-term, then that vision will take care of itself. So you do not have to consider कि innovation suffer हो जाएगा अगर cultural values अगर strong है हम तो speed कम हो जाएगा. No. If you are consistent, if your values are there, and these three values, that is integrity, ethics and customer focus approach, ये तीन सबसे important है. I mean, you can write down many values, but ethics, okay, ethics are very important. Okay, integrity, you have to be very, you have to have ownership in what you're doing. Okay, we make pharmaceutical products. मैं हमेशा सबको कहता हूँ और ये बहुत important है कि in our industry, I always, there is one way that I try to motivate my people is that अगर आप बीमार हो गए तो क्या करते हो? डॉक्टर के पास जाते हो. Okay, you go to a doctor. He will diagnose you. He will do everything. He is very highly qualified, respected, a family physician, and then he will give you a चिट्ठी, prescription कहते हैं उसको.
Right.
वो प्रिस्क्रिप्शन वो आपको समझा देता है क्या करना है. वो आप प्रिस्क्रिप्शन फोल्ड करते हो, आप मेडिकल स्टोर में जाते हो, क्या करते हो नेक्स्ट? यू बाय दोज मेडिकेशंस. अच्छा, आपने कभी रिक्वेस्ट किया डॉक्टर को कि मेरे साथ घर चलो? नहीं कर सकते आप डॉक्टर को. डॉक्टर घर पे नहीं आता है. क्या आता है घर पे? दवाई आती है. ओके, डिफरेंस देखो. डॉक्टर ने डायग्नोज कर दिया, दैट no one else can do, that is his skill. लेकिन घर पे नहीं आता है आपके, घर पे दवाई आती है और वो आपको ये विश्वास दिलाता है कि टेक दिस इन द मॉर्निंग, बिफोर ब्रेकफास्ट, आफ्टर ब्रेकफास्ट, वॉट एवर इट इज, ही गिव्स यू अ शेड्यूल, यू फॉलो दैट शेड्यूल, ऑन द 6th and 7th डे आपका बुखार चला जाता है, वॉट एवर इज द प्रॉब्लम गोज अप. नाउ विद दिस प्रिंसिपल, when you are putting those tablets on someone's hand और वो लेके जा रहा है, ओके, घर पे अपनी माँ को दे रहा है, बच्चों को दे रहा है, बच्चा कैन बी एज ओल्ड एज 2 days ओनली, ओके, न्यूनेट, और माँ को पूरा विश्वास है कि उसके हाथ में जो दवाई है, जो सिरप है, उससे वो चाइल्ड इज गोइंग टू बी, एंड दैट इज एवरीथिंग फॉर दैट कपल, दैट चाइल्ड. सो विद दैट, वंस दैट Vishwas is there. So in innovation, what is important is, unless and until that innovation is through trust, integrity in its solution, वो ऐसी चीज नहीं हो सकती कि आपको बुखार है और वो प्रॉमिस कर रहा है कि बुखार कम हो जाएगा, लेकिन हो नहीं रहा है. ये गलत है ना.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
तो innovation which has got no ethical background has got no meaning.
Very true.
Any innovation which is brought out speedily but has got no concern of the customer's requirements in terms of problem that is there. आपने प्रॉब्लम तो सॉल्व कर दिया, लेकिन उसको साइड इफेक्ट्स है, तो वो दुखी है बेचारा फिर भी. सो एनीथिंग इन इनोवेशन इन टर्म्स ऑफ डिलीवरी विच इज विदाउट द कंसिडरेशन ऑफ वैल्यूज इज, इन माई ओपिनियन, इज अ फेल्ड अटेम्प्ट. सो इन अ लॉन्ग टर्म इट इज नॉट अबाउट कि इनोवेशन बिकॉज कल्चर फॉलो किया. यू डोंट हैव टू चूज वन. इफ यू हैव फॉलोड द कल्चर एंड इन्वेस्टेड हेवीली ऑन दैट, then I think innovation will happen because teams know how to innovate. Okay.
Perfectly said. Yes.
Okay.
Truly agree with your point. And as we wrap up, we can say that innovation fuels progress, but it's the culture which gives direction. And any leader who grows with these values and evolve innovation according to these values will bring the or build the organizations in a longer run.
Perfect. Can't agree more. Perfect.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you for listening, and thank you, Prashant. It was wonderful talking to you. Had so much amazing learning from you. Hope the leaders are going to reflect on this and take an inspiration.
Thank you very much. Wishing you all the very best.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you so
Bye.
much.